Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show, guys. Breaking news, Trump drops the hammer. And guess what? Behind the scenes, we know that Trump's been working, but he has gone ahead and disbanded certain parts of the FBI. He said, before I get into office on day one, you're gone. And just like that, the DEI office for the FBI has just disbanded, closed its doors for good. And guys, I love this because just Trump, not even being in the presidency yet, is already having such a Trump effect. He told his team that on day one, Kash Patel was going to close its doors and that if they didn't close it before, they were going to be in trouble. So guess what? Just days before he becomes president, they close the doors. Things are changing fast. And he even posted on True Social, said, FBI, you better preserve all your calls, all your documents, all your emails, every bit of information, because we're coming after you. We know there's corruption in the FBI, and we're coming. Guys, I'm sitting here like, dang, this is happening really fast, but Trump is not playing around. We also have where the three richest men in the world, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg, are all essentially becoming Trump's new best friends. They are all going to be attending the inauguration. They're all going to be sitting front row at the inauguration. And they all are, now leaked reports, going to be having frequent meetings with Trump as he continues his MAGA agenda. You got Facebook, Tesla, SpaceX, Amazon. Wow. Also, we have it where the Biden State Department, okay, I know, I'm going to show you the receipt. You're not going to believe what I'm about to say, but I promise you I got the receipt. Biden State Department admitted today that Trump's team was critical in securing the peace deal with Hamas and Israel. Wouldn't have happened without him. Boom, baby. The Trump effect is happening. And now we have also the Treasury Department just released that they have found that in 2023, they sent $31 million to dead people. And they said this is just the tip of the iceberg. Guys, we got a lot of stuff about to happen with this inauguration. Bongino's super nervous. He's got some stuff to say. I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. Thank you to all of our viewers. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button so I can take care of you every day with the top news. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does help, guys, so much, guys. And it's free. It's just a click. And thank you to all of our members of the channel. We appreciate you so much and your support. If you want to be a member of the channel, the link is in the description to join. And thank you so much to everybody that gives a super chat donation, guys. Appreciate y'all so much. Thank you so much, Joanne Smith. Y'all show Joanne some love in the chat, and I'm giving you an update, guys. We're working on it. I'm going over prototypes right now. We're working on the TrueLife News merch. It's coming. Super exclusive, first edition. Only going to sell this once, guys. It's coming. I'll give you some more news later. But let's jump right into the news. We got big, big things happening. Check this out.
Back to the show. Folks, again, given the prior line of work you're all aware of at this point, no need to repeat it. I am extremely concerned about President Trump's security. I'm not the only one. Of course, you are as well. It is the question I by far get the most on Facebook, True Social, Rumble, in the chat. I told you the other day that I have sources too. I really don't care if the media respects me or my sources. I've been right. They've been wrong. I don't respect them. It's not symmetrical. They have been wrong. I've been right. I'm hearing that the threats to the inauguration are real. Will they materialize? Folks, the threat to President Trump is real every day. It doesn't mean something's going to happen in the inauguration because there may be a security plan to, in fact, mitigate specific threats. You get what I'm saying? But the threat is real. And I don't want to be told by anyone that the threat isn't real because my sources are good and your sources suck if you're in the media. I told you the other day that when the FBI agent said, well, they're not tracking any specific threat, that I'm kind of on that. All of a sudden, this Politico article comes out. Trump inauguration is a potential target for threats, agencies warn. Apparently, there's a security assessment ahead of the inauguration, which reflects a heightened political and potentially violent environment in which President Trump will assume power.
Dang, guys.
Sounds like something I told you. The security assessment isn't great. Having said that, having been involved in inaugural security in the past, the security assessment's never great. Does that mean something's going to happen? It doesn't. Does that mean I'm not concerned about it? It definitely doesn't. I am concerned. I am specifically concerned about the threat from drones.
Yep.
Apparently, there's some people in the Secret Service. I don't know who these people are because they're anonymous. In this fantastic article by Susan Crabtree on Real Clear Politics, Secret Service readies for higher threat Trump inauguration. This is in the newsletter. Please read it. Bongino.com/newsletter. You'll get these articles every day. It's free to sign up. I want you to read this one. On his Tuesday podcast, Bongino argued that the FAA's temporary flight restrictions for drones and aircraft are not easily enforceable, describing them as stop signs that can be violated, which is true. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, there are other measures. I'm just telling you, this is not some iron wall around D.C. that can't be violated. And it concerns me that I don't think people in the security D.C. capital region are prepared for a worst-case airborne assault scenario. I'm getting that from sources. Are my sources right? They've been right in the past.
Wow.
Said they're basically suggestions. If it isn't, this is Crabtree talking. There are other things we can do to make sure planes and drones don't violate the flight restrictions, Bongino said, noting he didn't want to disclose methods. However, I'm not sure we have the manpower for all that. Now, hold that thought. Notice actually, go back to that a second. However, notice the last, Susan Crabtree's quoting me. However, Dan Bongino, me, I'm not sure we, meaning the Secret Service, has the manpower for that situation. In other words, to do what has to be done right now to enforce that aerial security picture up in the air. This is the strangest thing. Here's part two of this. Some insider at the Secret Service basically acknowledges what I said while simultaneously brushing it off. Multiple Secret Service agents brushed aside specific concerns about drones, citing far more systemic and ongoing challenges the agency faces that can negatively impact security, including manpower.
Guys, like, as real as this is, guys, I'm telling you, like, praying that nothing happens, but just right here, Secret Service agents are saying they do not have enough people for the inauguration. This is not good. I say call the dang National Guard in. You put every service member you can, because there's a lot of people that don't want Trump as president, and we need to protect that guy.
Dad. Can you go back to screen one? This is what I'm talking about. You trust me? Or do you trust these other guys? I'm not sure we can secure the airspace, basically, because I'm not sure we have the manpower. Screen two. Well, they brushed that off, citing manpower concerns. That's what Holy man. And I'm sorry if you're offended by the language. I'm a kid from Queens, but I'm serious about this stuff. Agents pointed out an internal email sent out Friday. Manpower update, where they basically talk about how stressed out everybody is and how tired they are.
Dang.
And how they can't find people. Holy Moses, man. It's
crazy.
They brushed off Bongino's concerns while doubling down and saying he's right? Guys, whatever, man. I don't waste any more time on this. Stupid. The topic isn't stupid. It's just, this is really dumb that you've got people out there doing this inside the service. Oh, they brushed off the concerns. We've got this, except he's absolutely right that there's no manpower. Why is there no manpower? Because your Secret Service is doing 1,000 things. And if anyone from the Trump team calls me about this, I'm going to make sure that I push to get this guy's life and his family's life secured by stopping the Secret Service from having their agents do 10 missions and have them do 1. Keep this guy alive no matter what. That's it. We don't need to be doing nick-mick. We don't need to be doing credit card cases, counterfeit cases. Those are all important things. Let the IRS, let TIGTA or Treasury, or let DHS do that. HSI, whatever. We don't need to be doing that. That's not what we do. You going to listen to me, or are you going to listen to the people at the top who've got this guy nearly killed twice?
Twice.
Who's got the agenda here? I don't need a freaking job. You think I need a job? We have the #1 podcast in the world right now for conservatives by far. You think I need a job? I don't need shit.
Oh,
Back to the
sorry guys, missed that last one. Guys, I'm telling you, I'm getting nervous just because what you literally have Secret Service agents that literally said we don't have enough manpower. Now that's a dumb thing to say because it makes people think, and I'm just gonna leave it there. I wanted to show you this, guys. This is breaking news. The FBI shuts down its diversity office just 4 days before Trump's inauguration. Trump isn't even in office yet. He said he would do it. He said, I'm going to shut that down. I'm going to shut this down. Parts of all these departments, it's gone. It's gone. Listen to this. He posts, because he said, look, there's corruption. He posts, we demand that the FBI preserve and retain all records, documents, and information on now closing DI office. Never should have been opened, and if it was, should have been closed long ago. Why is it that they're closing 1 day before the inauguration of a new administration? The reason is corruption. Guys, it's 100%. They're trying to, they got a lot of those shredders out there. They're trying to shred as much as possible. Trump's gonna get them. Barry Trowbridge, welcome to the family. Let's go. Y'all show Barry some love in the chat. Again, too, guys, lots of stuff happening. But again, when we look at where we're going, you got to understand, Biden has put some bad things in place that now Trump has to deal with. Listen to this.
In the last 4 years, has President Trump had that power? No, he has not. This is President Trump that they tried to send to prison with 92 felony charges. President Trump in a kangaroo court found him guilty of 34 felonies. President Trump, who they tried to bankrupt. President Trump, who they tried to assassinate, not once, but twice. President Trump, who they went after his business empire and his family, and just lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. And you read the Jack Smith thing the other day. It's a nothing burger. So answer the question, audience. Is President Trump had any power the last 4 years? And even as President of the United States, the peace and prosperity he brought with the administrative state and deep state every single day, of which we know were phony, on him, did he truly have unlimited power in his first administration, what the administrative state and deep state took from him, fought him every inch of the way, and still had peace and prosperity? The answer would be no. So when Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden are sitting there just going off on oligarchs and an oligarchy and oligarch, who's had the power and allowed it to happen? You. This festered because the Democratic Party wanted an oligarchy.
Yep.
They wanted an oligarchy. The tax increases on the wealthy in the first 30 days of Biden's only term, illegitimate regime's only term. They put forward the tax policy and never even got a committee hearing. It was all performative. Why? The nascent oligarchs didn't want it in the donor class of the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is a billionaire, multi-billionaire donor class, lords of easy money on Wall Street, the tech oligarchs. Right? These are all Democrats. They're all Democrats. They're all Democrats. We in this show are banned on every one of their platforms. On YouTube, on Facebook, on Spotify, on Instagram, on Twitter. Oh, they put you back up on Twitter. We haven't stepped into that. We're banned everywhere by those guys. And Biden and those guys were comfortable with it. They loved it. We know from the FBI. Look what we know from DHS. Mm-hmm. Look at what Darren Beatty and Natalie Winters and Raheem Kassan have shown you over and over and over again, and why it has to be in a criminal investigation. They had FBI. They were inextricably linked. State and crony capitalist power to create oligarchs. That's if we had lost, it would continue on the 10th power. Let me repeat again. President Trump and MAGA have had no power. None. Zero. The concentration of power for these individuals came on your watch. It is a creation of you. And Rachel Maddow, it sent tingles down my spine. I shouldn't do that. Her voice is deeper. It sent tingles down my spine. Chills down my spine. Is that what it did, Rachel? Is that what happens in the Maddow household?
Dude, Ben is awesome.
You get chills, tingles. I haven't seen you ranting about this until November 5th, ma'am. A little bit on Elon because he kind of broke out. I'm not defending the oligarchy at all. I'm the one that's taking it on, okay? What I'm saying is those that created it, those that nurtured it, those that wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
Biden, you're almost too hapless to be evil. It's just, it's such a clown factor. The whole thing, you go over to the Pentagon today, out there you think it's Kaiser Wilhelm showing up. People at attention, sailors, his farewell address to the Pentagon. Why don't you go out to Arlington National Cemetery to those 13 dead that you murdered in Afghanistan? Why don't you give your farewell address to them?
Dang.
Why don't you sit over their graves and give your farewell address? Get their parents out there too, and their husbands and wives and their children. Why don't you do that?
Dang.
Show me what a tough guy you are. Don't go to the Pentagon. With everybody sitting there at attention, the troops and everything, disgusting, revolting. Nobody, the farewell address, were you Washington? You created these oligarchs. You nurtured these oligarchs. You wanted these oligarchs. Short break.
Guys, man, I'm telling you what. He's laying some facts out on these people. I showed you. I'm going to bring the receipts, y'all. I'm bringing the receipts. Biden's State Department admits that Trump's team was critical in securing the peace deal. Biden, you can laugh it off all you want, but you know what? Your team came out because they don't like you either, and they told the facts, baby. John Reppy, thank you so much for the super chat. He said, I was a sailor. Dan's language doesn't offend me. Well, it offends YouTube. God bless Bongino. Thanks, Joe, for your great channel. God bless you. God bless America. Love it, John. Appreciate you so much. Mr. Tracy J. Norby said, the real power comes from the ones who stand up to the corruption we've all been dragged through. Now look how fast it's hitting the fans now. Crap hits the fans. Fan blades. Loose the elites. Dump the swamps. Drop the mic on the DEI. Yes. Y'all show Mr. Norby and John some love in the chat. Let me tell you what, this corruption, I'm telling you right here, I'm calling it. Put a note in it. Put a pin in it, guys, right now. I'm calling it. Right now. Oh, no, wrong thing. Right now, Chinese hackers accessed Janet Yellen's, check it out, Janet Yellen's computer in the U.S. Treasury breach. There's a breach. The U.S. Treasury, they hacked Janet Yellen's computer per Bloomberg. I bet you they're going to lose data. We're not going to know where trillions of dollars have gone. And it's all, I'm telling you, it's all going to fall back on, I'm about to show you right now, it's all going to fall back on, well, we should have had security, this and this and that. Right now, they've officially shown their hand. Listen to this.
Just moments before our show, Bloomberg reporting that Chinese hackers have infiltrated the computers of the U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and two of her lieutenants, quote, as part of a broader breach of the agency. Joining me now, Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan. Congressman, you need a cough drop? No red dye number 2 or 4 in it, right? Congressman, first of all, your reaction to this news about China getting into the U.S. Treasury Secretary's computer.
It's scary, and you think about the Treasury Secretary of the United States, and it reminded me of one of the lines I saw from the nominee, President Trump's nominee, Mr. Bessent, today, when he was talking about China. He said, because I think one of the senators, Democrat senators, talked about that we're in a clean energy race with China. He goes, no, we're in an energy race with China. I mean, here's a guy who focused on the facts. So this is a slightly different area, scary. No,
they're unclassified. I mean, they're unclassified, only 50 documents.
Yeah.
I think American people listen to this. They don't believe any of the specifics about this report.
Nope.
Because if China can get into the computer of the U.S. Treasury Secretary, into
This
our
is
water
bad.
systems, some of our infrastructure for energy
Scary.
or electricity, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
What is this budget paying for? The deep state budget, the military budget? What are we getting for it?
And what are our agencies are supposed to be watching what the Chinese are doing? What are they doing? It seems the FBI is spending more time looking at pro-life Catholics, calling them extremists, investigating moms
Not
and dads
for
at school board meetings versus figuring out what China's up to and how they may be impacting our nation. So this is serious, and let's hope we can, with the Trump administration, I think we're going to see something different across the board that's going to be helpful for our country.
Now, I know you love big tech. Like we all love big tech. We like tech when it's helped us in our daily life. But now, the TikTok question is an interesting one. It's very popular among young people. It's also operated for all intents and purposes by China.
Yeah.
ByteDance,
China.
obviously, is Chinese affiliated company. So should China be able to retain ownership of TikTok, given what we know are glaring national security problems and propaganda issues with the platform?
Right. I actually voted for the bill. I struggled because
It's a law now. It is a U.S. law.
For the free speech aspect of it, but then also it's China, and we just saw
Why does China have free speech rights in the United States?
Exactly. Great point. So I supported.
There is no free speech issue.
I supported the legislation, but I do think that President Trump has taken the right approach. Is there some time frame where we can figure out, is there another owner who can come in and purchase it so it's not owned, the parent company is not some Chinese company? I think that's the right approach.
Yeah, an American company would totally solve the problem, would it not? Yeah. Well, the resistance, by the way, 2.0 is already forming, Congressman, and it's going to be filled with Biden's lackeys. Former Biden-Harris officials will help launch on Inauguration Day a new legal response center to bolster the fight against Trump's impending executive orders. Now, they're gearing up. I know it's easy to see them as defeated, watching Biden last night, and flailing in these confirmation hearings. They're just embarrassed themselves, one after the other. But they have a huge army of lawyers who are going to be descending upon these executive orders one after the other.
Well, and they did it back in 17 when President Trump started to get control of the border back in 17. They did the same. Remember the whole kids in cages baloney that they said was President Trump, when actually those quote cages, which weren't really cages, were from the Obama administration. So they're going to do the same thing when Director Homan, when he starts working on repatriating people back, people who've come here illegally, done crimes, people who've come here illegally, been in front of a judge. The judge has said you don't qualify under our asylum laws. So they're going to challenge those and other executive orders he does. But we just got to keep doing what we told the American people we were going to do.
Yes.
I say all the time, we make this job way too complicated. It's pretty simple. What'd you tell the folks you were going to do when you put your name on the ballot? If you get elected, go do what you said. President Trump is committed to doing that, and so are we in the House of Representatives. So that's how we got to focus.
Politico is reporting that there's all this tension between John Thune in the Senate and Mike Johnson in the House, and saying that this relationship has some big troubles, some big hurdles because of different approaches. Do you see that?
No, I don't. I see that the Republicans the American people on November 5th said we want Republicans staying in charge of the House, we want Republicans running the Senate, and we want Donald Trump in the White House. And we have a mission: secure the border, bring down inflation, put in place those policies on energy, on taxes, on everything else, control spending. That'll help with inflation.
Cut spending, not control. We got to cut spending. We can't just control the growth of spending. I heard, Thune came on the show last week. It was great to have him on. It was a terrific appearance. But we have to control the increase of spending.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that's Washington speak.
It is Washington speak, but if we could do that, that'd be a huge change for us.
Oh, that would be some positive steps for sure.
And frankly, we got to stop the weaponization of these agencies against the American people and the censorship. What we're seeing in that area, what Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and the changes that have been made there. God bless those who've embraced now the First Amendment.
Yeah, Zuckerberg still has to stop demonetizing conservatives over there on Facebook. By the way, would you like my jacket? I was thinking
my wife says pink would be
right. I mean, I think it's time to just update, Congressman. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
All right, the House just passed a critical bill to keep Americans safe from illegal aliens by deporting.
Sorry about that. Let me tell you this. You wanna know? We have a spending problem with the United States. Where does it start at? Well, it starts with Congress. It starts with the Treasury Secretary. Well, we now know the Treasury Secretary was just hacked by China. When we look and we're saying, okay, what's gonna happen next? If they can get into the very place where we literally pay for our bills, where we literally send the checks from, what's going to happen next? Because I'm telling you this, what you're seeing right now, Elon Musk posted this, Treasury finds $31 million in Social Security payments go to dead people, calls it the tip of the iceberg. You want to talk about a lot of money missing? There's going to be, I'm telling you, something's going to happen where we're going to see lots of money missing, not going to be able to track it. And I wanted to show you this. This actually came out today, guys, of where Congress is at, because they can say all they want about trying to cut spending. This is what's actually happening. Listen to this.
I think by now we've seen all kinds of different versions of this depressing chart, total U.S. debt. Back in 1998, we'll be talking about that year when Bill Clinton was president, and we had our first budget surplus since 1969. The debt level was about $5.5 trillion. When I arrived here my first year in the Senate in 2011, that was about $14 trillion. I ran, quite honestly, because we were mortgaging our children's future. We'll talk a little bit about 2014, when President Obama had a certain spending level. That was up to $17.5 trillion. As recent as 2019, before the pandemic, our debt was somewhere around $22.5 trillion. Today, our debt exceeds $36 trillion on a path toward much higher heights. If you look at President Biden's final budget here, he's predicting our total debt will be $52 trillion at the end of 10 years.
Wow.
This is clearly unsustainable. As I said, it's a depressing reality. The result of all that debt, one of the many results, was the devaluation of the dollar. A dollar you held in 1998 is only worth 51 cents today. We basically cut the value of a dollar in half since 1998.
Dang.
2014, when President Obama was president, now the value of that dollar is only worth 74 cents. The value of a dollar prior to the pandemic, 2019, is now only worth 80 cents. That's why people can't afford things.
Yep.
This inflation caused by massive deficit spending, this is the stealth tax on every American. It's a very regressive tax. It primarily hurts people at the bottom part of the income spectrum. You know, wealthy individuals have stocks, they have other assets that inflate as the dollar devalues. So again, this harm primarily affects lower incomes Americans. The people, the men and women who work are harmed by this. This can't go on. This is an outrage. This is a tragedy. Mr. President, I just want to ask a little bit of a hypothetical here before we talk about this chart. Let's say you're an American family of four, and you're doing pretty good. You make and you spend about $100,000 a year. Let's say the next year you have a serious illness in your family, and all of a sudden you have major medical bills totaling $50,000. So the next year you spend $150,000. Let's say you get some good news. That medical condition is now solved, your family member is healed. What would most American families do? If their income level stayed the same, around $100,000, I don't think they'd keep spending at a $150,000 level. They certainly wouldn't borrow $50,000 to maintain that spending level. They would reduce their spending level back to what it was before the illness, right? They go back to somewhere around $100,000, you know, maybe a little bit more based on inflation. That's not what the federal government did. This, I know, is shocking most Americans as I'm laying out the reality of the situation. In 2019, prior to the pandemic, total federal government spending was $4.4 trillion. Then we had COVID, and I think we very unwisely shut down a lot of our economy. It destroyed people's businesses. It destroyed people's lives, our miserable, failed response to COVID. It costs a lot of money. So Washington went on a massive spending spree. In the year of the pandemic, we spent actually closer to $6.6 trillion. Now, again, if it would have been like a normal family, once the pandemic passed, we would have returned to some reasonable spending level, but we didn't do that. The last 5 years now, we've spent, on average, $6.5 trillion. That's $2.1 trillion more than we spent in 2019. There's no justification for that.
Nope.
This last year, we spent a total of $6.9 trillion, $2.6 trillion, $2.5 trillion higher than the $4.4 trillion. Again, there's no justification for that. So the question I've been asking is, how do we return to a reasonable pre-pandemic spending level? I will guarantee you that the people that voted for President Trump do not expect the federal government's going to continue spending at President Biden and the Democrats who've been in charge at their spending levels. This is unacceptable. It's unsustainable.
Guys, it is unsustainable. And when I see that chart, what I see is a lot of dang politicians that don't care that Americans have had to endure so much inflation because they don't know how to control their dang wallets that they have, which is the American's purse, the taxpayers' dollars. I wanted to show you this too as well. The U.S. intelligence reports that the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen's computer was hacked by Chinese state-sponsored actors, resulting in the theft of unclassified files, guys. You really think that they hacked her computer and took unclassified files? You have to be naive to think that that's all that happened. Mr. Tracy J. Norby again with the super chat. Let's go. He said, all I know is Joe Biden is bad, but not as well as Kamala has done. She's finished lots and full of hot air. She's been blowing smoke up all our backs. Guys, thank you so much, Mr. Norby, for the super chat. And what's new? Let's go. Said lots of heads gonna roll real soon. 100%. Especially this, they need whoever was managing their IT needs to be held accountable. Y'all show what's new, and Mr. Tracy J. Norby some love in the chat, guys. They got more stuff than what they're telling us. There's more that's happening behind the scenes, but that's why it's so important that we get Pam Bondi in office. Why? Because she's gonna go after them. She's gonna hold them accountable, and we know exactly who she's going after first. Listen to this.
Well, the Trump cabinet confirmation blitz continues as nominees steamroll the Democrats. Today, 4 more of the president-elect's nominees face questioning from senators during confirmation hearings, with character witnesses for Pam Bondi testifying on her behalf, and Trump's attorney general pick, who vows to rid DOJ of weaponization, laying the smackdown on Democrats like Adam Schiff, who wanted to play politics. Watch this.
Senator, what I can tell you is I will never play politics. You're trying to engage me in a gotcha. No one has asked me to investigate.
But the president has
We're
called,
also worried about Liz Cheney,
the
Senator.
president has
you know
called
what we
for
should
this.
be worried about?
Ms. Bondi,
the
please
crime rate
answer
in
my
California
questions.
right now
You
is
are
through
aware
the roof.
So, Dana, would you like to comment on the exchange with the senator from Hawaii?
Well, getting to see her so much this week, the senator from Hawaii, it's like watching Bambi learn to walk. I mean, she starts off by reading the questions that her staff has prepared for her, but she does it so slowly and it eats up all of her time, which means that the person answering doesn't have a chance to answer. The other thing is just watching Pam Bondi yesterday, it's like, you know how the whole campaign for the Democrats against Republicans is how much they hate women? It's like, it's unbelievable, especially the women coming out of Florida. You have Ashley Moody being announced to take over for Marco Rubio today. I thought that was kind of interesting. It also is jarring, I think, for the senators to finally have a different generation to deal with.
Yeah.
Right? The age difference of the senators and the nominees is quite stark and noticeable, and the energy level is right there. Today, Dave Ehrenberg is his name. He's a Democrat who ran for the Attorney General seat when Pam Bondi was running. He lost in the Democratic primary. Pam Bondi went on to win that race, and then she hired Dave Ehrenberg to come and work with her on the opioid crisis. And he testified on Pam Bondi's behalf today and said, You don't have to worry about her when it comes to following the rule of law. She will not be pressured. She is amazing. So to have somebody like that in this kind of environment to speak for you is something else. The other thing I would mention is this. Ron Wyden today went after Scott Bessent. He was trying, or he tried.
Yep.
Scott Bessent, of course, going for the Treasury Secretary position. And this quote just stuck out to me. Ron Wyden said, "We are in a clean energy arms race with China. Will you be on the side that is for us or against us?" And Bessent, so calm, smart, said, "China is going to build 100 new coal plants this year. We are not in a clean energy arms race. We are in an energy arms race." And it's just refreshing to see some really interesting people come on board to try to get to be a part of this cabinet.
So, Jesse, you have Shifty Schiff now upgrading from the House to the U.S. Senate in California. Says a lot about California, unfortunately. And his questioning was about Liz Cheney rather than about real big issues facing the country and what the Attorney General is going to have to focus on.
If you close your eyes and you don't know who's talking, you'd think Whoopi, Joy, and Sunny were asking the questions. These are unserious, paranoid questions about, is Trump going to do a third term? Are you going to lay a hand on Liz Cheney? These are not questions the middle class cares about. This party thinks they want to get back to repping the middle class. No one cares about this stuff. They already rendered a verdict on whether Trump is going to be a dictator or not, but they're still clinging to this stupid playbook that's making them look even worse. You're starting to see what happens when the machine is broken. Usually you expect these like perfectly timed, explosive allegations to drop the morning of, or these narratives and these stinging questions, and the media is all colluding with the press and with the Democrats, and you're usually kind of like, oh my God, are these guys going to survive? That's gone. All of their donors don't want to give. All their tech guys switch sides. The media is falling apart. Presidents are leaving. Journalists are going to private. It is done. And you're looking at a system that if this is going to continue this way, there's no resistance at all.
So,
guys, I'm sorry, guys. The more and more that I just pulled this over, guys, because this is big. This is, when you look at how much, I just want to show you this real quick, though. This is not it, guys. I want to show you something else. But somebody posted this picture. Look how amazing that looks, guys. I love it. On the way out, Trump's watching her because he knows, we know, that things are about to change. So, guys, this right here. So, billionaires Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg are set to attend Trump's presidential inauguration. Guys, I want to say this is the 3 richest men in the world who are about to sit front row to Trump's inauguration and who are going to be having frequent meetings with even Elon Musk. Check this out, because this is amazing, guys. New York Times is reporting now that Elon Musk is expected to use office space in the White House complex. Trump is putting the best, the brightest people around him, and the Democrats cannot stand it. Why? Because they used to be on their side, and now they're with MAGA. Are you kidding me, guys? Check this out.
We're now entering the days of thunder. That's how insiders are describing the second Trump term. The greatest comeback in political history is just getting started. A little while ago, corporate America saw Trump as toxic, but now MAGA is the hottest brand in town. Just this week, Trump received the highest award a president can get, the first ever presidential commemorative can of Diet Coke. Get ready for McDonald's Big Mac and Chief. Companies want to be associated with Trump, and they want you to know it. The stigma of a Trump donation, which was out there to some degree 8 years ago, is no longer there. Who knows what's going to happen 2 months from now, but for today, up and down, corporate America is solidly pro-Trump. The biggest brands in America, look at these right here, each donated $1 million large. One lobbyist said everyone's trying to kiss the ring and curry favor. We're hopeful this new administration will be friendlier than the previous one. Trump's not running for re-election, so he can use the money for anything from his library to making sure Republicans keep the House. He could even use some of it to pay off Kamala's debt, if he's so inclined. One Trump advisor told Axios, The money is just pouring in at Mar-a-Lago. Trump doesn't have to lift a finger. Everyone's coming to him.
Let's go.
Sure, Trump will cash the check, but that doesn't mean he owes you anything. The president was overheard telling an executive this, quote, "You guys made this amount of money last year, and you're going to make so much more now because of me. But when I needed you, where the F were you? You weren't with me, and maybe you were with her." A big part of Trump's second term is making sure America's on the cutting edge. 5 tech titans are getting positions of honor on Trump's inauguration stage. Musk, Zuckerberg, Bezos, TikTok CEO, and the biggest name in AI, Sam Altman. One official said, "I think the message it sends is, first, the importance of free speech, and then that these are all huge job creators in this country, and they're going to be a big part of where this president goes in the second term." These guys all used to be in Biden's corner. Now they're America's first.
4 years ago, the Democratic Party had the White House, it had the Senate, it had the House, it had the popular vote, and it had Silicon Valley on its side. Over the past 4 years, the Democratic Party has lost the House, lost the Senate, lost the White House, lost the popular vote, and now has lost Silicon Valley, which means the billionaires are on the other side of the table.
Wow.
Biden's pretty bitter about the tech turncoats. Listen.
I want to warn the country of some things that give me great concern. This is a dangerous and that's a dangerous concentration of power in the hands of a very few ultra-wealthy people. And the dangerous consequences if their abuse of power is left unchecked. Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence.
I like how he
It
reads
really
off
threatens our entire democracy.
Always.
The big guy has a point about how powerful big tech is. They crush their competition. They can censor speech and use their deep pockets and influence to sway elections. We can't blindly trust them because they can switch right back. But why would Biden wait until his farewell address to warn us about them?
Ooh.
If Kamala won, he wouldn't have warned us about anything. Biden doesn't care about a tech oligarchy. He doesn't even know what it means. But he does understand revenge. Ooh. Democrats had big tech in their pocket since the Obama years, using them to cancel Trump, deep six the laptop, and buy off the battlegrounds. You weren't even allowed to crack Fauci jokes on their platforms. But after Biden bombed at the debate and they cut off donations and opened the door for Pelosi to plunge the knife, are these guys loyal? Are they legit? Or do they just want to be in bed with the winning team? Musk has a little more street cred than the others because he stuck his neck out when there was risk. But I don't know about the rest of this crew. Maybe they're libertarians, maybe they're libs, maybe they're imperialists. What do I know? But I do know Biden wants blood. He's declaring a war on the tech industrial complex and using it as a rallying cry for the new resistance. He's telling his party to ditch DEI and wage class warfare against the tech giants.
I almost saw this speech as an attempt to wrestle back the mantle of populism from the Republicans. Donald Trump has run a populist campaign, and that's a lot. He's the outsider. And what Joe Biden last night did was quite interesting. Almost try to reclaim populism for the Democratic Party.
Spending a decade calling Trump Hitler blew up in the Democrats' faces. They lost their base, donors, and the plot.
The Democrats have come to the end of a 9-year messaging program during which they woke up every single day and told America and the world that Donald Trump was a bad guy because he's an authoritarian, he's a racist, he's a sexual predator, he's a fascist, he's all these horrible things that they say about him. And what was the end result? He won. He got elected to the presidency again. This has got to be regarded as the greatest communication failure in the history of world politics, a 9-year campaign that failed.
So Biden's trying to rebrand Democrats as a party for the people, but actions speak louder than words.
You got 3 people on top, Mr. Musk, Mr. Bezos, and Mr. Zuckerberg, who are now worth almost $1 trillion. Would you agree with President Biden, who last night stated, and I quote, "An oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that threatens our entire democracy"?
The 3 billionaires who you listed that all made the money themselves. Mr. Musk came to the country as an immigrant.
Forget how they made their money. Do you think that when so few people have so much wealth and so much economic and political power, that is an oligarchic form of society?
Well, I would note that President Biden gave the Presidential Medal of Freedom to two people who I think would qualify for his oligarchs.
Biden gave the Medal of Freedom to George Soros and Mike Bloomberg. He only likes the billionaires who work for him. And Democrats use mob rule to bully these CEOs to their side. If you said what Democrats didn't want to hear, you're canceled. Even if it's the truth, you're canceled. But that's over now. It's hot speech winter. CEOs can say what they want and support whoever they want without getting whacked. And they don't have to pretend to like DEI anymore. Look at these blue chip companies ditching DEI.
Wow.
A few years ago, if you didn't have a diversity officer or tampons in the men's room, your company would get boycotted. Now you get dinner with the president. And Trump's a talker.
He is world-class on real estate and on communications. And those are sort of his foundational skills. And those are, he's world-class on both, which is like probably the first person in the world to be world-class on both of those things, right? The real estate industry is not historically known for its great communicators. Here you've got somebody who does both of those things incredibly well.
47 speaks to something inside successful competitive men. They like what he does, and they like that he says what he wants. And they like his drive and his finesse when there's an obstacle. And when you see a man survive a gunshot and pop back up, that's respect. Men want to be around men like that. And now they're not intimidated by their HR departments. They're the boss. But at the end of the day, all these CEOs really care about is their bottom line. Banks are seeing big profits because companies are optimistic about the economy. CEOs all over the planet are looking to finance big-ticket investments here in America. That's good news for everyone. And for Trump to modernize the country and shred Biden's legacy, he's going to need corporate America on his side. If we're going to fight trade wars, we're going to have to reindustrialize. If we're going to capitalize on AI, we're going to need to produce much more energy here at home. And we're going to need young American workers to step up and fight for the American dream. So we're cautiously optimistic about big tech's newfound loyalty. They're saying all the right things, but it's early. These people might just go where the wind blows. And if they want our trust, they have to earn it. Because we can always bust up these big monopolies if they stomp all over our constitutional rights again. We're now...
Guys, let me tell you this. The reckoning is coming. I wanted to show you this again. The FBI has officially shut down its DEI office. The agency tells Fox News Kash Patel is ready to come. Smack the rest of the FBI into place. But there is some breaking news, guys, that I wanted to show you. Because DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, they're working to reduce government spend. Well, have you ever heard of military spending? You ever heard of the billions of dollars that we spend on all types of new science craziness? Well, the lobbyists are now after DOGE. Check this out, guys, because again, too, we knew they'd be coming. But it's crazy that now we can see that where the wolves are coming out that want to try to take America's taxpayer money. Watch this.
The Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, setting its sights on big spending cuts. But it's going to be a challenge, something lobbyists and lawmakers have a history of going against. William LaJeunesse has more on that from L.A. What are you picking up, William? What do you think is possible? Good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Bill. You know, DOGE wants to drain the swamp, right? But many in Washington, they like the swamp because it's a dark, bewildering place where if taxpayers knew how Congress wasted our money, we'd say no. So DOGE may bring sunlight to the swamp, but history suggests they won't bring lasting change.
You don't want more government, you want less.
Ronald Reagan tried.
We know the difference between the baby and the bathwater.
So did Clinton Gore.
I'm not a profane guy, but you got to cut through the crap.
Even Obama's bipartisan Simpson-Bowles Commission failed to cut spending or streamline government like Truman's Hoover Commission tried in '47 or Teddy Roosevelt in 1905. Can DOGE succeed where others failed?
Their goal is incredibly ambitious, $2 trillion in a year. That's a huge cut, and they seem to not kind of understand exactly what all they're getting into.
Each year, watchdog groups identify billions in waste, $100 million to promote tourism in Egypt, $33 million to raise research monkeys. and mass.
Did you hear that, guys? $100 excuse my French, $100 million of your taxpayer dollars was spent to promote tourism in another country, Egypt.
Of subsidies for biofuels consumers don't want.
The answer in Washington when a program doesn't work is to create a new program.
Even government sees abuse. The CBO found $500 billion spent on expired programs, and the GAO uncovered $400 billion in overpayments.
The major problem holding our country back, it's the federal bureaucracy.
But can DOJ steamroll the congressmen, lobbyists, and bureaucrats who consider those subsidies their money, not yours?
I think it's important to get bipartisan support behind these issues because that's the only way you have enduring change.
So DOJ critics say unless they tackle entitlements and defense, they fail. That's not true, right? A dollar saved, remember, Bill, is one lesson they're going to take from you. So maybe embarrassment will work here where consensus is not, but turning rhetoric into reality in Washington often takes more than 4 years.
Well, it's going to be a story we're going to follow very closely.
Guys, I'm telling you, the swamp is real. The lobbyists are real. They've, like you said, they've tried in the past, but guess what? In the past, they never had somebody like Elon and Vivek, both billionaires, both MAGA constitutionalists, and both with especially Elon, the platform to go and speak out and let every American know the waste of the politicians have been doing so that these politicians will lose their jobs. That's what Elon's going to do. That's what the Doge X account is going to do. It's going to call people out who keep fighting, wasting American taxpayer dollars. Want to say thank you to everybody that's watching, guys. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button so I can take care of you every day with the top news. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does help the channel so much, guys. We had a great show. Why not have the fireworks? Want to say thank you to all of our members of the channel, guys. You are the best. Appreciate y'all so much for all your support. And guys, just want to say thank you to everybody that is giving a super chat donation. We couldn't do this without you. In less than a week, we're going to be giving a big donation to the Tupelo Mansion, helping out kids that don't have families, helping them to find families, to be fed, to be clothed, education, and everything, guys. It's a beautiful charity. Want to give some shout outs to John Reppy, Mr. Tracy J. Norby. What's new? Y'all show them some love in the chat, everybody. We are here for you. We love you. We appreciate you. And we're always going to make sure that you get the truth and we bring the receipts. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.